Abraham Lincoln is widely regarded as one of the greatest presidents in the history of the United States. His legacy has endured for over a century, and he is still celebrated today as a symbol of freedom and democracy. But did you know that there are many interesting stories about President Lincoln that you may not have heard before? In this video, we will explore some of the lesser-known facts and anecdotes about one of America's most iconic leaders. Lincoln was born in a log cabin in Kentucky in 1809. His family moved to Indiana when he was 7 years old, and it was there that he spent most of his childhood. As a young boy, Lincoln was known for his love of books and his curiosity about the world around him. He would spend hours reading and learning, and this love of knowledge would stay with him throughout his life. Lincoln began his political career in 1832 when he ran for the Illinois state legislature. He lost that race, but he ran again and was elected in 1834. Over the next few years, he became known as a powerful speaker and a skilled politician. In 1860, he was elected as the 16th President of the United States, and his presidency would be defined by the Civil War. The Civil War was the defining event of Lincoln's presidency. He led the Union through the war and fought to preserve the Union and end slavery. During his presidency, Lincoln faced many challenges and setbacks, but he never wavered in his commitment to his principles. Tragically, Lincoln's presidency was cut short when he was assassinated in 1865. He was shot by John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer. While attending a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., Lincoln died the next day, and his death was a great loss to the country. Today, Lincoln is remembered as one of America's greatest leaders. His legacy lives on in the Emancipation Proclamation, the Gettysburg Address, and the many other speeches and writings he left behind. He is celebrated for his dedication to democracy, his commitment to freedom, and his unwavering belief in the power of the people. Abraham Lincoln will always be remembered as one of the most important figures in American history. His story is one of perseverance, courage, and dedication to the principles of democracy and freedom. But there are many interesting stories about Lincoln that you may not know. For example, did you know that Lincoln was an accomplished wrestler? He was said to have only lost one match out of the approximately 300 he competed in. He was also known for his physical strength and endurance, which he developed through manual labor as a young man. Another little-known fact about Lincoln is that he was a skilled marksman. He was an avid hunter and would often take hunting trips during his presidency to relax and unwind. He was also an animal lover and had several pets, including a dog named Fido and a turkey that he pardoned on Thanksgiving Day. Lincoln was also a gifted storyteller and had a great sense of humor. He would often tell jokes and amusing anecdotes to lighten the mood during tense political meetings. He once remarked, "If I couldn't laugh, I would die." But perhaps one of the most fascinating stories about Lincoln is his encounter with a young girl named Grace Bedell. In 1860, Bedell wrote a letter to Lincoln, suggesting that he grow a beard because it would make him look more dignified and presidential. Lincoln took her advice and grew a beard, and the two would eventually meet when Lincoln passed through Bedell's hometown on his way to his inauguration. Bedell later recalled, "I was the little girl who wrote to Mr. Lincoln and told him to grow a beard. He kissed me and called me his little friend." Lincoln's life and legacy are full of interesting stories and anecdotes that continue to captivate people to this day. He remains an inspiration to all who believe in the power of democracy, freedom, and the human spirit. Another lesser-known aspect of Lincoln's life was his struggle with depression. Lincoln suffered from what was then called melancholy, and he experienced periods of deep sadness and despair throughout his life. Despite this, he was able to persevere and accomplish great things, and his experience with depression has inspired many people to seek help for their own mental health struggles. Lincoln was also a proponent of education and believed that knowledge was essential to the success of a democracy. He once said, "The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next." To that end, he established the U.S. Department of Agriculture and signed the Morrill Act into law, which provided funding for the establishment of public universities. Finally, Lincoln was a strong advocate for equality and justice for all. He believed that slavery was an abomination and worked tirelessly to end it. He also fought for the rights of women and minorities and believed that everyone should have an equal opportunity to succeed in life. In conclusion, Abraham Lincoln was a remarkable man whose life and legacy continue to inspire people around the world. From his humble beginnings in a log cabin to his presidency during one of the most tumultuous periods in American history, Lincoln's story is one of perseverance, courage, and dedication to the principles of democracy and freedom. Whether he was wrestling, telling jokes, or fighting for justice, Lincoln was always true to himself and his beliefs, and his example will continue to guide and inspire us for generations to come.